It's honestly such a pleasure to be back here after 2 years now with a live audience. And it's just amazing looking around, seeing the faces of so many old friends, trusted partners, and also some fresh new faces.
Yeah, if you're here for the first time, welcome. At CDTM, we offer an add-on master's degree on technology management supported by the TU Munich and the LMU. Every semester, we welcome 25 outstanding students from interdisciplinary backgrounds who set out to become the innovators of tomorrow. And tonight, after 12 weeks of hard work, we're here to show you the results of our second core course, Managing Product Development.
For this semester's MPD, we had 7 different project partners approach us with 7 different and uniquely exciting challenges. Each of the 7 project partners was paired up with a team of 4 to 5 students, each with different backgrounds and a complementary skill set. And together, they went on a journey to innovation. And we want to take the time and thank our project partners again here for guiding the students along and supporting them with their knowledge and vision.
But it wasn't only the project partners that guided our students along the way. The students received input from all kinds of experts on design thinking, business modeling, prototyping, and even storytelling. MPD is all about solving problems, and that's where everything started, with a challenge provided by a project partner. It's all about empathizing with users, with people who could use or have a problem and find something worth solving. We're happy to announce that all 7 teams arrived at a problem that they were excited to solve, to challenge, and afterwards they went into ideation. This meant that some teams arrived at up to 50 different ideas on how to solve this problem and narrowed it one strategically to one. And now the exciting starts parts. It's about building a prototype, testing it, iterating, testing again, until all of the teams arrived at a unique product vision. Tonight, we're really proud to present you these products.
And we're also very proud to present to you these 7 product pitches. So we will first hear from 4 teams, Pico, Sophie, Trixo, and Remoto. Then we're gonna have a short 20-minute break where you can catch a drink back out there, mingle a bit. Then we will hear from 3 other teams, and then you will have the chance to check out the team's booths, play a bit with their prototypes, and ask them all the questions that you might not have had the chance during the Q&A sessions. So after each pitch, you will have about 5 minutes to ask your questions. We will hand the mics around, and you can ask all the questions you have. But for now, enough from us. Let's move on to the first team. Have you ever ordered something online and wondered what's actually happening between you clicking on the button and the package arriving at your door? Because there's more going on than you might think. Please welcome with me Team Pico, who is revolutionizing the e-commerce fulfillment industry.
Well, it's your grandma's birthday. And as a great-grandchild, you want to make a really special day for her, right? Well, for quite some time, she has been talking about a present that she wants, and you decided it's now finally time to take the leap and buy her that weird vase in the shape of a fish that all the other family members didn't want to buy. And lucky for you, there's 24-hour delivery. So you spent the whole next day at home waiting for the package to arrive because you cannot miss the parcel by any chance. And then, nothing. You check your shipment tracker and you see that the parcel is delayed and has only been shipped today, so it won't arrive in time for the party. You see your family at the celebration, and they're all super disappointed. They all wanted to see your grandma's reaction. And now you're wondering, why? Why did this parcel arrive late? And we have the answer, and it's this: fulfillment sucks.
So let's understand how fulfillment actually works and what kind of steps your order is actually taking. It all starts with you ordering something in an online shop. After that, your order is being processed in a warehouse. In that warehouse, your order, with a bunch of other orders, is put on a list, the so-called pick list. A worker in the warehouse is then walking through the aisles of that warehouse to manually retrieve all the items needed to fulfill those orders. After everything has been collected, your order will then be packaged and handed over to a carrier who will then deliver it to your home. Looks pretty simplistic and straightforward, but there's one huge problem in there, and that's the picking problem, the picking process. During the picking process, there's actually walking someone collecting items of randomly grouped orders, which is making the process incredibly slow. And on top of that, the process is also incredibly intransparent, since managers don't have any data at hand to effectively manage their process. All of this is leading to the fact that the picking process is the #1 cost factor in a warehouse, accounting for 70% of all operating costs. On top of that, it's also the #1 reason for delays in a warehouse, leading to huge opportunity costs for the online shops, since 85% of end customers won't reorder from the same online shop after having had a similar experience as you had. And all of this is worsening because there are less and less workers available, which is already today affecting 77% of warehouse operates. So to sum it up, the current picking process is costly, slow, and intransparent. But there's good news. We are here to solve it. That's why I'm now very happy and proud to introduce Pico the Pickman, the all-in-one robotic solution to fully automate your picking process. Well, at least that's what we thought roughly 2 months ago when we first stumbled upon the problem. It turns out robots are actually not the right solution, since they often struggle to deal with the huge product variety and the seasonality in e-commerce. But there, again, is good news, because we found a different approach that enables you to run the picking process in a cost-efficient, fast, and transparent manner. And we do that by offering 3 distinct product components. The first one being an optimization engine, which optimizes the pick list generation and prioritization. The second one being a manager interface that allows the warehouse manager to proactively steer the picking process in real time. And the third one being a picker interface that guides the picker through the actual picking process.
Let's get a deeper understanding of how our optimization engine works. But for that, we first have to understand how pick lists are generated in warehouses right now. So in the beginning of the process, you have orders incoming, and every order needs to be sent out before a specific cutoff time. So based on the first in, first out principle, those orders are grouped into pick lists and then are ready to be picked. Let's compare that to our solution. Instead of using the first in, first out principle, we optimize on 2 factors throughout the whole process. So first, we minimize walking distances by grouping items that are at the same location in the warehouse together so that pickers have actually to walk less. And second, we prioritize urgent orders. So based on those 2 factors, we group our orders into pick lists. But instead of giving the picker just the first pick list, we shuffle the pick lists and prioritize them again so that even urgent orders can be delivered on time. Let's see how that is realized in the warehouse. So on the left, you see again the traditional process. The pink items need to be collected from the picker. So we start our picker. He walks through the warehouse and collects the items that are turning blue, because those are on the same pick list. During that, you see a counter running up on how many meters the picker actually walked. Let's compare it again to our solution. We have the same situation, the same items, but when we start our picker now, he walked through the warehouse and he's much, much faster because the walking distance is way shorter due to our optimization. So in the end, with our solution, walking times are way shorter, but we do not only speed up the picking process, we also provide transparency to the warehouse manager with our dashboard. So let's have a look at our dashboard from the warehouse manager's perspective. So as you can see here, the warehouse manager has an overview over some metrics, over open orders that are still in the warehouse, but you also get forecasts. So for example, for tomorrow, the capacity, the picker occupancy is only at 80%. So the recommendation is here to assign pickers to different tasks. Let's do that. We go to delegate tasks and we come into the people management board. Let's put Lieselotte into replenishment instead of picking for tomorrow. We go back and we see that the picker occupancy is at 95%. Perfect. We are set for tomorrow.
And now that you've seen our solution, you probably wonder about its impact. And to understand the impact, you must know that the most important aspect in fulfillment is costs. And to remind you, the #1 cost driver is the picking process. So with our solution, we can reduce those costs by over 40%. And this is not just important to our customers, but also to us, because our revenue model is built on those cost savings. Off of those, we're taking a 15% cut. And by doing that, we're generating over 140,000 euros in revenue per warehouse every single year. And so by 2026, we'll be doing over 40 million euros in revenue. But the market for our solution is of course much bigger. It's over 300 million euros in Germany and over 11 billion euros worldwide. And that is just for our initial product. And the best thing is, the market is growing at over 21% per year. When it comes to how we position ourselves in that market, you must know that there's currently 2 types of players out there. On the one hand, you have the established players with very inefficient picking. On the other hand, you have a new player coming in with more efficient picking, putting pressure on all of those established players to offer a better picking process. And this is what we focus on. So we focus on those established players who have most of the market share, and with our solution, we enable them to defend their market share with much more efficient picking. Now, how are we going to achieve that? First, we're going to sell to warehouses so that then in a second step, we can generate the proof in the form of case studies and references that we need in order to then close partnerships with the warehouse management system providers so that they can offer those cost savings to everyone in their customer base, while at the same time doing the heavy lifting in terms of distribution for us.
So let's have a look at the traction that we already got. Following up from the 48 industry interviews that we conducted, we already managed to sign 3 advisors from leading e-commerce companies, as well as 1 development customer, Aleiko, based here in Munich, and the CPO in the audience today. But picking for us is only the beginning. You have to imagine that every single order that goes through one of our customers' warehouses goes through our system, leaving a data trace. We can use this data trace to, in the future, also improve adjacent process steps that you've seen earlier also, such as storage and packaging. And then, combining the data across multiple e-commerce warehouses, as well as multiple different product categories, we can then offer solutions to the whole e-commerce space in terms of optimizing their R&D, product portfolio, as well as inventory management, which eventually will lead to us becoming an end-to-end intelligence platform for e-commerce. Well, who's gonna make this happen? You've all seen us on stage earlier already. We would be happy to meet you at our booth later. We're Pico. We fix fulfillment for you and for global commerce.
Thank you very much. We're now very happy to take questions from you. you will get the microphone.
Okay, so a very quick question. How long would it take to implement your software at a warehouse?
Okay, so thank you very much for the questions about implementation. I will give this to Felix.
Okay, so the question was about the integration effort in the warehouse. So basically, those warehouse management systems, they have APIs at almost every process step. So as long as one of the warehouse management systems that we are integrating with is already running at the warehouse, and we already build a connector to the API, it's doable in probably a day or a week, so very short integration effort.
Any other questions? Well, if not, we're getting here. Okay.
Of course, it's part of my profession, I think, to ask questions. So how would you, well, what is the core, technological core of your offerings, and how would you defend it? Because others might be just following your trail very quickly.
Okay, so this question is also about the technology behind our product.
Yeah, so I think in the short term, we're using research papers from 2021, so there's not that much out there yet to do this. And I think in the long run, however, our competitive advantage is that we generate the data, and the earlier we start with that, the bigger our competitive advantage is compared to other people who might enter this business. I think that's the main first mover advantage that we'll try to get.
Yes, in the front. Oh, well, then it's you next.
Yeah, I have a question. So you said that you basically monetize based on the cost savings. So I was just wondering, once these cost savings are realized, how do you plan on monetizing it in the future?
Thank you very much. It's about our business model.
So the business model that we showed was kind of simplified. What we'll be doing is kind of to provide a tiered system based on the number of orders that you will have per year. So in the end, it's not technically pricing based on those cost savings, but the way that we've come up with the different tiers and priced the tiers is based on how expensive the process is at the moment, and then taking the cut.
You in the front were first.
Hello. So you said you did like 48 interviews, right? Did you talk to them as well with your product vision? And what did they say? How happy, from a scale from 1 to 10, were they to say, hey, let's collaborate, we're so happy to see a product in real life? Or what was the, like, yeah, what did they say?
Thank you. This is about, first, on the one side, the journey we had with our interviews, and then the roadmap, if I understand right.
So the first main learning from the interview was that clearly there is this problem with the picking process. So they really wanted to cooperate on that and really wanted to see how we continue with that. And in the vision, there are a few players out there who are already doing that, but that's not really that common in logistics right now. So they're really open to that, and they were really interested, and I think a lot of them are viewing right now and listening to us, so they're really excited for that.
Yes.
Hello, thanks for that presentation. I have a question regarding the market size. So you said your 5% market share in Germany is like 14 million, so that's 280 million in total. Is that the whole picking market, or is that the software that optimizes the picking which you're tackling?
Okay.
Okay, so the question was about the market, and actually I can show you how we calculated the market. We can also walk you through it later in more depth. But basically, the way that we looked at it was we estimated the amount of spending that currently goes into the picking process in Germany based on talking to different fulfillment centers and looking at how much they are spending. And so then we looked at what's the amount of cost savings that we can realize and what's the cut that we can take. And based on then that calculation, we were able to come up with market size. Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough questions for now. Remember, you will have time to ask the rest of your questions outside of the booth. Let's give a big applause again for Team Pico. And now I would like to welcome on stage Gabriel Tumala from Alaiko to represent the project partner of the team.
Hi everyone. It was really a pleasure to see the presentation. So first of all, really congratulations for delivering this fantastic presentation. So I can say that throughout the whole process, it has been really a pleasure to work with the team. So I'm not just really excited about the final result, and we would definitely like to see a 40% improvement of the picking cost, because as the team said, it is a really big factor, and we saw a lot of potential there from the beginning, and the insights that the team carved out are really amazing. And I think one thing that stood out especially is that from day one, the team has been asking really excellent questions. So while introducing them to a completely new world of warehousing, they really were able to challenge us, and also the work together was really with very little involvement from my side. So kudos to the team, really well done, and we would be happy to realize the project.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. And now, let's hear it from the next team. 34 degrees, sweat dripping down your cheeks. All of you are thinking only about one thing. When am I going on vacation next? The next team set out to solve one of the biggest pains of booking your next holiday vacation. I'm really happy to present you to Team Sophie.
Today, we want to take you on a journey. So with the temperature in this room, I guess who of you wouldn't rather like to be in this place here right now? Put your hands up. Well, that's a lot. So luckily we got you covered. So we have already booked some flights and a hotel in Palma de Mallorca for right after the design fair. But how do you get from your hotel to this nice place in the morning? Well, you need a car. So how do we find the perfect rental car for a trip? Most likely, you will go to a booking platform. There, you enter the destination you want to go to, in our case, Mallorca, and some results are showing up. But it's not just some results, actually it's quite a lot of vehicles which you can see. But I mean, you don't need so many, you just need one, right? So how do you get from many to one? Luckily, there's something called filters. Filters are supposed to get you from many to one. And for someone who is an experienced booker, they actually work great. But let me tell you, for someone who's an inexperienced booker, or even for the first time, they can become a real nightmare. So the actual journey of booking a car more often rather looks something like this than a straight line. Now that you heard that this is a challenge for users, how does it look like for the booking platform provider? Actually, for them, it's one of the most serious problems they are facing. On the one hand, many people who come to the site don't end up booking, they get lost in the process. And on the other side, people who get lost in the process, they might call the call center and want to get consulted by a specialized agent. However, while this is better for the booking platform provider, it's still not great, and it's causing significant amounts of costs on their end. So the problem that we're facing is choice, right? In German, we say Auswahl. And with that, we would like to introduce you to Sophie. Sophie is a plugin for existing booking platforms that allows you to turn the traditional process into a guided conversation. And the two main values we provide for booking platform operators is, on the one hand, that we increase conversion, and on the other hand, that we reduce the costs of the overall process by increasing transparency.
So Sophie takes you onto a guided and personalized booking journey. But how do we actually do it? We take what we call traditional booking journey, where the user is thrown into a jungle of filters, and turn it into a horizontal booking flow, where the user gets to choose only one decision at a time. So taking the example of rental cars, in the traditional approach, the user sees all of the filters at once, but none of them are actually explained. And none of them address the user needs, but rather car features. So in order to get from the filters to the Sophie way, we group the criteria behind those filters, we rank them by relevance, and we form intuitive questions in order to really understand our customers or our users. We then feed this into our model, which uses logic, previous booking data, and other ranking mechanism in order to understand the true needs and match them to the best offer out there. Since this model is actually what makes our Sophie so unique, let's dig a bit deeper into it. So Sophie is very user-centric. The user is where it starts and when the whole process finishes. So after the user has inserted the first criteria, or actually answered the first questions, the algorithm is still not sure if all the informations are actually out there that it needs to find the best offer. So in that case, the criteria ranking engine tries to predict which criteria is really relevant for this specific user, so that all filter information or actually user information are there. This then determines which question will be asked next, so that the full user profile is filled and the algorithm can find the best match that is out there. Once we loop through it, we are ready to present the user what it actually needs. Only one perfect solution. So now that you've understood how it actually works, let's finally meet Sophie.
All right, one thing that is missing for our trip, our rental car, our perfect rental car. So now, today on stage, we will book the rental car together with my team and you guys to really go to Mallorca with it. So we are integrated within a bunch of apps, but today we will book it within Check24. So let's open up the app. So first of all, we need to go to the rental car section there. And here we get the choice. Should we book the conventional way, or are we going the Sophie way? Let's go the Sophie way. So first of all, we need to provide Sophie with some basic information. My age. Then we need to fill in the country where we are going, to Mallorca. And now Sophie also wants to know where we are going to pick up the car. So to start our holiday right away, we will pick it up at the airport. And then, how long are we going? For 3 days. So now Sophie wants us to get started with the first question. So the question is, which type of trip are we going on? So here we can select, and I think we are going on a holiday with friends, right? But if I'm confused what all this means, I can press long, and then I can get some more explanations which filters are aggregated behind that. But let's go on with the holiday with friends now. All right, Sophie wants to know something more from us. Well, but for that I will ask my team. So what should we bring? All right, one surfboard for Carl. All right, then I will bring some carry-on luggage. All right, and then Sophie already comes up with the next question. And what should we add here? Yeah, I don't want to drive all the time. You're driving? Awesome. All right, and then get a cabrio and tell that to Sophie. All right, and then there's another question from Sophie. Sophie wants to know our risk tendencies. And yeah, as we already said, Sophie is personalized. And this app takes into account my profile and what questions I can answer basically in a good way. So I would say it's rather risky to invest all my savings in crypto now. All right, Sophie is now searching. And you might recognize the number at the top. We're now really searching for all the options that Carl presented in the beginning. Let's give Sophie some more time. Oh, all right, there we go. What a beautiful car, right? So as you can see here, the car has pretty much, it's a beautiful Audi A3 Cabrio. It has pretty much everything we asked for. It even put automatic transmission automatically because it knows my profile so well. Amazing. I mean, we could now also look for more cars, but I'm really convinced that this is the one. So I will now just quickly check out, and then I think there is nothing standing in our way to go to Mallorca next week.
So I know you all want to try Sophie to get out of here. Really, I do understand. But actually, I think there are a couple of more questions left to answer. For example, what's in for you as a platform operator? With Sophie, we do promise to increase your conversion rate of your users into customers by not giving them the opportunity to get lost in the jungle of choice. Further, we will increase your customer satisfaction as well as we will improve the information availability and transparency, and thereby directly decrease costs as you have less need for customer service agents. Take into consideration all those interesting benefits. We've come up with a very attractive monetization strategy for you. We will be charging a 3,000 euro flat fee per month. With that, we will be able to integrate into your current processes. Also, we will be able to integrate your current data into the Sophie database. And further, we will ensure continuous learning. So we will make sure that Sophie always stays up to date of current market trends. On top of that, we will be charging a 0.5% booking fee to really make sure we only charge you if we add value. So how will we now make sure that you can use Sophie at all your favorite marketplaces? First of all, as of tomorrow, we will be integrated with the Check24 rental car department. From there onwards, in the next 12 months, we will not only be able to upsell within the Check24 departments to make sure that Sophie is a truly industry-agnostic product, also we will be able to sell to other rental car online marketplaces or car purchasing online marketplaces. From 2024 onwards, when we are a truly industry-agnostic product, we will be able to sell to all your favorite marketplaces, offering very complex booking and purchasing options. So you now saw our long-term vision. And taking this long-term vision, we are confident that we have a 3.2 billion market opportunity with very attractive growth rates of about 10% per year. Only looking at our core market, so the rental car and the car purchasing market, our market opportunity kind of adds up to $412 million, and we are very confident that we can capture 15% of it. You might wonder, what's our rather short-term goal? Until 2024, so when our first stage of our go-to-market is over, we think we can convince 30% of the early adopters to opt for Sophie instead of the traditional booking process. All that is executed by my amazing team, and there's only one question left to ask. Would you book your ride with us? So I think we are ready to take questions now.
Hi, thank you for a cool presentation. And my question is basically, I always had a feeling that all the aggregators, they don't really want you to know which car you will get at the end. They kind of want to have this flexibility. And that's actually the question. If you promise to deliver an Audi A3, then you're probably booking only with sixth or like the high-end providers, and low-end providers are not on the list just because you cannot promise a certain car anymore. How are you going to deal with that?
Thank you for that question. I think Claudius would be the right person to answer it.
Yes, all right. So for our online viewers, the question was, can we promise the Audi A3 that you saw that we had booked? So the question basically is, it depends on which platform we are integrating. And if you get like a fixed car, so this is the car, or you might know from booking platforms, this or similar. And of course, this also applies for us. But you will get a car that at least features all the tick marks you saw there. For example, we will guarantee that you get a car where you get that fits car surfboard.
So thanks for the pitch first. You talked about a lot of variables, right? And in my experience, most of the cases, price is more important than, for example, having space for a surfboard or so. So what about like this interdependency between the variables? For example, if I say, hey, okay, if the price is like 30% lower, I don't need a surfboard, and then we will just rent it there because we save so much money. So what about these kind of aspects? Because if you say we always tick every one of the boxes, you only focus on a really small amount of potential offers, and you run the risk that you don't have an offer that fits to the customers.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question about like the prioritization of choice and of filters. And I think for this case, Kyle might be the.
Yes, totally. I think I definitely see also the point in what you mentioned. I think you have to consider or there distinguish a bit between the experienced booker and the one who's doing it for the very first time, or who just, or grandparents who just want to get a car. For them, price might be not the #1 criterion, but for the one who's regularly booking a car, who's very experienced, it might is. So we see our target group as being not totally price focused, but more on the whole experience, that they even find the car they want and that they have a good experience. So for our target group, it's not the #1 feature, let's say.
So I think you mentioned that that is also a huge problem for providers. Actually, I would be interested in the provider side. Why is it such a huge problem for them?
Yeah, happy to take that one. And I think the provider side is quite interesting because we saw that there are like 3,549 options. And you have to think of those 3,500 options, it's very likely that you might not really choose the car you really liked. Therefore, after I booked it or after I wanted to pick it up and couldn't find the right car, I called there and I actually caused a lot of trouble and a lot of overhead in the customer service agent department. And thereby, we are very certain that we can increase the customer satisfaction end to end, and thereby we really decrease the cost in customer service. Very back.
So I have a first question. So do you have just a standard set of questions that you ask everyone who's using Sophie, or how does it work exactly?
So thank you for this question about like the kind of questions that we ask, and I think Neira would be the right person to answer that.
So the question engine is very dynamic. That means that based on the first questions that you answer, the next ones are generated. So it's always different, and it depends on the first few questions that you answer. So you can imagine it this way, that the user profile keeps building up. So depending on what you have answered before, Sophie uses all this information to come up with the next question and to also understand what criteria is missing or what information is missing for it to really get the full picture of the user and then to be able to find the best offer.
So basically you're building up a user profile as the person uses Sophie across other platforms, not only that one platform.
So it's very user-centric. So the focus is on personalization. We want to offer, regardless of which platform do we integrate with, that the user really finds the perfect offer for them.
Because I was wondering, sorry to interrupt you, what would stop the actual provider to use such a structure as well? Why would they need you to implement it? I mean, especially that they would be able to track probably user behavior on their website better, so that they could aggregate depending on age and so on, and the conversions that they had so far, what kind of questions they would be asking, right? So,
of course, every booking platform operator has the full freedom what they integrate in their app. But what we actually offer is also very fast integration, and with us having the know-how of also all other industries, then we can implement it a bit better and also train our models better so that we really manage or crack this personalization even better than they could.
All right, thank you everyone for your questions. If you have any more questions left, there will be time in the booths afterwards. Now, please welcome our project partner on stage, Check24. It's Michael Tränkwalder, Martin Diesner, and Anna Böhler.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for the great presentation. So my name is Michael Tränkwalder. I'm a CDTM alum from 2006, so it has been quite some time. And when I went through the MPD project back then, I was always thinking, okay, maybe at some point I'll become a project partner. So it took me quite some time to get there, but it made me really happy that we managed to realize this project, as we've been discussing in the winter, even short term, to realize this. And from the experience I had, now after so many years, it really, I think CDTM managed to keep really a cool spirit and pass on the values that we had back then to the new generations. And I think it was perfectly reflected in the team that we had and also in the results that you guys managed to achieve. But Anna will tell you more about how it fuels into our innovation process at Check24.
Yeah, when we started the collaboration with CDTM, what we initially had in mind, what we expected, was a more classical chatbot with a fixed flow that supported the customer to choose the perfect rental car. But the team actually took it a step further and exceeded our expectations by providing a modern conversational intelligence that really took over for the customer. And we were very positively surprised by that. Through the whole collaboration process, we were always kept in the loop about everything that was happening, about reached milestones, and for us it was amazing to see how Sophie developed from a rough sketch to the very advanced demo that we just saw. Thank you for that. We're very happy.
And after a lot of praise, I think there's not much to add from my side. But there was a lot of fun working with all of you guys. I think the product is amazing. And then on the other hand, it was fun to have all the calls with you and discuss a couple of ideas. Yeah, it was fun along the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now it's time to move on to our next team. And the question is, have you ever wondered how your electric vehicle might be able to support the German energy grid while also saving you money? Trixo is here to answer that question.
All right, hi everybody. Electric vehicles. Let me tell you a combination of 3 striking facts about them. Fact number 1, cars are parked 95% of the time, so they're actually mostly unused. Fact number 2, if there was a blackout in our electricity network, just the capacity stored in the batteries of electric cars could cover the electricity supply for 15 straight hours in Germany in 2030. And the third fact, 57%. That's exactly how much the electricity price fluctuated on the market on average during one day. So what do these facts have to do with each other? Well, theoretically, we could use the capacity stored in electric cars as a resource for the immense potential in terms of electricity supply and even make use of the price differences at the market. To understand this a little bit better, let's look how electric cars are currently connected to the grid. The electricity comes from the grid, goes through your wall box to power your car. However, if the electricity only flows in this direction, we cannot use the capacity stored in your battery to also power the grid. To do so, we would need bidirectional charging, meaning that the electricity also flows in the other direction. Let me now take you on a small imaginary thought journey with me. What if we would take multiple electric vehicles, pool them together, because one electric car has just too little capacity, connect these cars to the grid, and then make use of the price fluctuations by trading energy, selling at a high price and buying at a low price. We at Trixo make reality out of that imaginary thought process, empowering you to realize the full potential of your electric vehicle.
Let's take a look at how our Trixo application works in 5 consecutive steps. Starting in the left-hand side, we show you how it works from our user perspective. In the first step, all users need is an electric vehicle, a wall box charger, and of course, our Trixo application. In the second step, electrical vehicle owners simply state directly in the app when they're not driving their car, indicating that we can use their individual battery capacity. Now moving over to the Trixo side, we show you how it works in the background. In step 3, we take the individual battery capacities, pull them together, and we do this via the blockchain. This is a key enabler for us, creating a secure and trustworthy network of electric vehicles. Each single block on the blockchain represents a single charging session, enabling tracking of multiple battery capacities at a single point in time. In step 4, our algorithm takes the pooled capacity and optimizes for the buying and the selling of how much, when, and at what energy market to buy and sell energy in. In the last step, our 5th step, this is where the actual trading happens. Based on the results of our pooled capacity and our algorithm, we take those pooled capacities and trade it on the energy market and distribute those savings to our individual electrical vehicle owners. In this last step, we then are able to use blockchain to then enable energy trading in a fair, transparent, and immediate way. Now, I introduced you to Lotta. She just bought an electrical vehicle last year. She drives regularly to work, and she also works at corporate.
Hi, I'm Lotta, and I'm checking my phone on the way to the garage in the morning, seeing the savings with Trixo, and that it charged my car up to the desired battery state. So I plug out my car, and I'm ready to head off to work. When coming back home in the evening, the first thing I do is plug in my car again. Trixo directly pings me to launch the next session. So when do I need my car again? I have to leave for work at 7:30 tomorrow morning. And next, I want it to be charged up to a 90%. The 30% of minimum battery charge I'll keep. So in case I need to black out earlier, Trixo will never go below that 30%. Next, skipping over the summary, looking all fine, and especially the savings of almost €4. Let's launch my charging session. Ah, nice. I get additional savings if I stick to what I plan in my next charging session. This is because Trixo can rely on my capacity, and I get rewarded for that. Nice. After launching my session, I can always check on the current status of my car, and in one glance, I can see my average savings with Trixo, can look up all the details on my previous sessions, and on a monthly basis. So, let's summarize. First, with Trixo, I get the best in-class savings, bringing home the big euros. Second, using Trixo is only 4 more clicks to my daily charging routine, making it effortless. And third, I can look up in a transparent way what happens from start to end in a single charging session. Now, how does Trixo generate the savings?
Let me show you how. This is the electricity price most of us in this room would pay when we charge an electric car at home. It's flat because we are bound to the electricity tariff of our local providers, like Stadtwerke München. Trixo, however, buys and sells electricity at the electricity market. And you can imagine it works similar like the spot exchange. So at the energy market, prices fluctuate a lot. Do you remember the 57% from the beginning? Let's see how we can take advantage of those. Going back to Lotta, so when she comes home in the evening, instead of immediately charging her car, the Trixo algorithm will decide to first sell the remaining capacity to the grid, because typically the prices are high in the evening. And only later, during the night, when the prices are low, we will recharge her car so that it's ready to use in the morning. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the savings. Assume a session where Lotta would pay 15 euros without using Trixo. Now first, by selling electricity to the grid, she can save 5 euros. But on top of that, because we charge smartly at low prices, we can save another euro. Well, of course, as we charge more than she would usually do when she's just using her car to drive, we also have to take battery degradation into consideration. But all in all, she would make 5 euros when using Trixo just in this session. But how do we as a business make money? So we took real market data and electricity.
euros by 2025. But what makes this market really interesting? It's the fact that electromobility is still in its early days, and the number of electric vehicles doubles every second year. You may ask yourself, why is now the best time for our solution? First, because renewable energies destabilize our electricity grid, and we need, therefore, stabilizing energy buffer capacities. Second, governments are investing heavily in bidirectional charging technology. Just 3 weeks ago, the German government decided to invest 80 million euros in bidirectional charging technology. And third, also car manufacturers equip their vehicles with this technology. From this year on, every Volkswagen, every new electric Volkswagen will be able to charge bidirectionally. But we will not stop here. Our vision is to even cut down costs further by enabling the user to integrate the vehicle into their homes and also to trade directly with the neighbors in a decentralized way. We are Team Trixo, and we will unlock the full potential of your electric vehicle battery.
All right, now we're happy to answer all your questions.
Thank you for the presentation. A very hypothetical question, but right now this relies a lot on the price fluctuations in energy, right? But assuming that every user, like every vehicle owner has this, wouldn't that influence the price at some point and cannibalize the savings?
Thanks a lot for the question. It's actually a super good one. So basically, we are moving from a centralized energy market to a decentralized energy market. This means we have a lot more energy supply in the future from more decentralized places. So more people will have their PV panels at the roof, more wind machines will be there, so the market will be more decentralized and the energy will be traded at the market. So actually, you're right, somehow, of course, we will counteract these peak times, but the overall market trend goes in this direction that actually all the energy will be traded on the market and it gets more and more decentralized.
Thank you for the presentation. Actually, I have one question, and the question is that when you were talking about the degradation, did you also calculated the price of the battery? Because when you implement this in bidirectional way, it means that your battery will just be a trash in a few years, I assume so. So did you also calculate that? And the second thing that I wanted to share with you is that there are some startup companies out there in Silicon Valley, and then they work on battery charging systems. And I think it was last year that I read in LinkedIn, and they were saying that they will just reduce the charging time just to 15 minutes or something. And there are also some German OEM companies, automotive companies, who are supporting or who actually like owns these startup companies there. So that was the thing that I wanted to share with you. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your question. For the first part, for the battery degradation, I would hand over.
Yeah. So the battery degradation is a really good point, and you have to take this into consideration because every time you charge and discharge your battery, yeah, it is aware on it, and we calculated it through, and there is research on it, how much bidirectional charging really influences the battery. So let's start on the academic status quo. Current research, newest research from TU Munich shows that if you take the battery degradation into the optimization, so kind of you calculate with it and optimize the total saving potential, it can be reduced by a lot. It can be reduced a lot while only influencing the savings potential by a little bit. So you can optimize for it. And we also calculated the math through, because there are battery degradation models. You can see it on the right side there. And we came up with a maximum of 1.2% degradation per year. And the numbers you saw before on the slides that promised more than 1,000 euros annually to the end users outweigh that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. And your second one, don't forget it.
Yes, I can take it. So as far as I've understood, the question goes in the sustainability direction and where we stand there. So basically, our solution is actually pretty good for the environment, because how the market currently looks like is that in the evening, we have still a high level of demand for energy, because the people are at home, consume energy. However, the supply, especially of renewable energies, goes down in the evening hours, because the sun is not shining. So basically what the grid operators normally would do to bridge that gap between supply and demand, they would need to buy energy, and most of the times they would buy the energy from non-renewable sources. What we could do, we could serve as a buffer here, which is actually much more sustainable than for the grid operator to buy the energy or import it from an external source.
Can I follow up here? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, because those 2 points that have been mentioned by the colleague here was like in my mind exactly, because if we are going to introduce products into market or applications, we need to consider sustainability as a first-class citizen. And we know with lithium-ion stuff, there's like a huge industry that also have a lot of aspects regarding sustainability. So I really like the presentations that you have presented here, but what I can suggest maybe a little pivot into the business model, which you can encourage most of households to buy storage systems like batteries, and those batteries can do the trading in home, and you can reach your business model without affecting cars and all this auto manufacturing and all the losses that could happen. So this was like some thoughts comes to my mind. And I hope that you would consider sustainability not only for the battery, but for the guns auto, like for the whole car and who is going to use it. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Hi, yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. I was just wondering, how do you want to defend your position within the market? Because there are already players out there like Eon and so on that sell those wall boxes and will potentially do the same as you. So how do you defend yourself?
Yes, pretty good question, thanks. I would hand over to Lisa.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good question. So what we saw is that there are two types of competitors. So when we look at the horizontal axis, so we have those players that are already offering smart charging, but for them, obviously, when they want to move into the direction of what Trixo is doing, offering smart charging and bidirectional charging, they have to expand their models by a whole lot of other factors, and it's actually very, very complex to take all of these factors into consideration, like when do you charge, how much capacity do you want to have left, etc. And then on the other side, on the vertical axis, we have providers that are already in the bidirectional charging space, but they are mostly focused on hardware. So for them, they always have a limited set of customers, obviously because they supply to their customers that they sell their hardware to. Whereas we, on the upper part, we already take the bunch of factors into consideration into our model, and we are independent, so we are not bound to any hardware. Also, for example, if OEMs want to go into that space, a Tesla could probably not sell their bidirectional charging algorithm model app solution to a BMW owner.
Thank you so much for that wonderful discussion, and I would like to now welcome on stage Stefan Schulzien from Trixo to give us some warm words.
Hi, thank you guys. That was super cool and I enjoyed that a lot. What you don't know is we didn't throw at them the problem of saying, hey, please figure out how vehicle-to-grid applications could work. But we basically asked them a bit reverse engineered, what can we do with the blockchain in the energy system? So other people built an entire career on answering that question and they fail. And you guys, within a couple of months, you became experts in the energy industry. I very much enjoyed the interactions that we have had discussing intraday price volatilities on Saturday mornings over coffee. That was fantastic. And I think the solution that you've built is actually super cool, and I think that's exactly the time where we have to talk about these things, because the technology is advancing. We are seeing more and more that we need something like this. And it's also super cool to see that the discussions about it are so fruitful. So hopefully we have much more energy passionate people in here in the room now. And let's try to figure out what we can do out of it. I think it was super cool how you basically bridged the gap between having security in the energy system, because it needs to be reliable, but at the same time being super user-friendly and giving us the freedom that we want to have as users. So thumbs up, super cool, and thanks a ton.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Well, you're all thinking about the break now, but I still have one more story to tell you before we go and have a drink. Our next team is here to revolutionize how we're going to work from home in the future. I want to welcome Team Remoto.
There are these special moments in life. When your palms start getting sweaty, your stomach drops, and you start feeling incredibly nervous. For example, when you want to propose to your crush, when you crashed your mom's car and you have to tell her, or the worst of all, you're working from home, you have an incredibly important meeting coming up,
and your connection is gone. We've all been there. On average, home office workers lose up to 30 minutes per day due to connectivity issues. This means companies lose 14 billion euros per year due to bad connections. And what's worse about home office, many workers cannot solve their own issues. In addition, would you expect that German companies lost 52 billion euros in a year due to cyber attacks on home office workers? So, is this a temporary problem? No. 82% of companies want to allow home office even after the pandemic, but businesses are not ready.
So in a world where remote and hybrid work are the new standard, home office networks shouldn't be the source of a loss of productivity. Instead, they should be reliable. Companies can't scale their IT teams to solve every single home office employee's needs to set up and maintain their home network. So those networks have to be as simple as possible. And of course, home office networks shouldn't be the friendly open invitation to hackers. So these networks have to be as secure as working from the office. And that is why we are building Remoto. We enable businesses to provide the optimal home office connectivity to their employees. How do we do that? We built one application that gives the user the full power, to unleash the full potential of their home network. We give them the optimization engine, which basically means that home office users can now take action whenever something breaks in their network. They get very easily understandable suggestions what to do. We give them the network cockpit, which gathers all the available information in their network in a comprehensible way without the necessity to have any IT knowledge. And we take the user, the responsibility of security away from the user and make sure that the router in your home network is always securely configured, especially because the user can also directly influence the devices through our device monitor. We put all of these features into one app that is on all devices and available anytime, even when your network is down. But how do we get it to our users? We partner up with businesses who employ a partly hybrid or remote workforce. And through these businesses, we then spread our app to all the users in our network. One of these users might be Herbert. So let's have a look at how Herbert can solve his home office network.
So it's Monday morning, and Herbert just got a call from his company that he can start using Remoto. So he opens the app and gets started with the setup process. In only 3 steps, Remoto configures Herbert's network. First, the network is updated to make it more secure and performant. Second, Herbert's network is split into business and private network, so that there's a second, more secure network for the professional devices of Herbert. Finally, Herbert has to choose the work devices so that they can be added to his business network. Now, Herbert is ready to start working. He has finished the setup of Remoto. This is the cockpit for Herbert on the network about his business network. Through constant monitoring of the network, we can automatically notify Herbert whenever there's issues, for example, security or connectivity. Below, we can see an overview of the status of the devices that are connected to the business network. In case Herbert gets a new work phone or wants to remove an old work laptop, he can easily do it through the device manager. So, Herbert can now start working and leaves the app. We're all set. But wait, there seems to be something. A network issue was detected. Let's have a look into it. Apparently, Herbert's notebook has an unstable connection. Remoto explains the problem in a short way, and also, with the intelligent algorithm behind it, offers 3 possible solutions. Herbert has a meeting in some minutes, so he wants to fix this problem as quickly as possible. First, he is offered the question whether he might change his location, because this is often a cause for problems with the Wi-Fi. But unfortunately, Herbert has only one place to work at his flat, so he can move right now. The second solution that Remoto offers him is to remove the old devices in the network that slow it down, so that his device can use this more quicker standards. He likes this option, so he goes ahead with it. Remoto optimizes the router settings, removes the old devices temporarily, and automatically runs the speed test to check the connection again. It seems to be fine. So Herbert has worked out all by his own a solution for his network issue and can now work productively again.
So let's summarize. For our remote workers, just like Herbert, we decrease the stress level during work because of ensuring that they are always connected. In case there are issues, we offer a solution-driven approach to their problems to make sure it's quickly resolved, as we've just seen. On top of that, we decrease the risk of security and data breaches in his home network by making sure the router is always connected. On the other hand, for the businesses, we make sure that they have a higher network uptime and therefore more potential for a productive workforce. Also, we offer a solution for every employee. So independent of the capacities and resources of the IT departments, every employee can solve the issues within the home network with Remoto. And we also lower the risk of security issues within the company by ensuring the network security of all home office workers. Initially, we want to target small and medium-sized enterprises. Why? Because actually, they have the biggest problems with IT resources capacities. They have small IT departments, but still a large workforce that now wants to work also remotely. Additionally, they also have the problem that both the companies and the workers are less experienced with home office than, for example, corporates or also especially startups. So for these small and medium-sized enterprises, we offer two pricing schemes: the Business Secure and the Business Performance Package. For Business Secure, on a monthly subscription fee basis per employee, we offer the basic app that is ensuring the automated setup improvement, a secure connection, and also a proactive network optimization, as we've also just seen. For our Business Performance Package, we additionally have the personalized support and also a service hotline in case there are any issues that our app can't solve at the moment. On top of this, we generate revenues from our hardware and internet partners. So in case the Remoto app detects that the home network setup is insufficient for a remote worker, we equip them with the right equipment for a performant home office. Looking at our market, if we target all home office workers in the European market, we arrive at a potential of 23 billion euros. Initially targeting small and medium-sized enterprises with remote workers in the DACH region, we have 1.1 billion. Until 2027, we estimate a market share of 5%, arriving at 53 million euro. We're Remoto, and we will become the backbone of the global remote workforce. This is our team, and we are really much looking forward to all of your questions.
Thank you for the presentation, and actually the purpose is really awesome. However, I wonder the technical feasibility, because if you make your mobile device as the administrator of your whole network, this is a big risk too. So, and if there is like, as you have mentioned at the end, there is like partnerships with telecom or other ISPs, internet service providers. So this will also take some time to update their software with like kind of interfacing with your app and the routers, for example. So this flow or this journey, I think, may need some kind of consideration, but the purpose is really awesome. Just like a thought. Thanks.
Comment or question?
Okay, thanks for the pitch first. How did you test it? Like, where only in the city or also on the countryside? Did you actually test it with customers? And what was the result? Did it actually work? And what's the like percentage or how much could you optimize the user experience in home office from people that had those problems?
Okay, the question is about the, like, if we tested it with users and the actual impact, and I think a perfect person is our tech expert we have with us.
Thank you. So we just finished our prototype, but we don't have user test data yet. That would be our very next step, testing it with real users, iterating about the app a few times and seeing how big the impact actually is.
But you don't know like, how, if it would have an impact or not, because like, you can say no.
Well, we, from the prior research, and we did a lot of customer interviews, that's why we expect that a lot of the problems that we found in our customer interviews could be solved by our app.
From the technical side as well?
Yes.
Thanks. For the two models that you're offering, for including the pricier one with the personalized support, the price difference is €4. Do you think this is sufficient price span to cover all the costs that may be incurred by personalized and having staff available? Did you having some thinking behind this? And this, how would you rate that?
Yeah, perfect. So the question was about the pricing schemes and our premium or like performance package having also personalized support. It's a very good question. So this is primarily focusing on the setup process. So whenever like people which are probably like mid-aged, I would say, that's our target group that we identified, which will be the users, would be setting it up. We would support them in this process. And since this is only like a one-time contact, the price difference would then like over time be fine in the end to cater this, this additional effort. So we thought about this definitely.
Sorry, one more question, because like from my own experience, I remember also, we all been there, the calls don't work, well, you're done, fucked. But I have to admit, it oftentimes is like a shitty Wi-Fi in my eyes, and I switch to my hotspot or whatever. So just like into the problem that you're solving, I'm not sure if it would solve mine in that case. So yeah, I mean, you didn't run tests yet, but basically what kind of increase in productivity do you expect right now?
So I think,
Yeah, I think what we can't solve if your home network devices are shit, of course. It's not magic, right? But in those cases, when we target our target users, typically have a sufficient network, but they don't know how to use it properly and they didn't optimize it. So I don't think you are the initial target user, because you know how to solve your setup in case you have a good setup. But those that don't know how to do it, they will have the understanding and they will do it in a very easy way. For those that don't have a good setup in the beginning, we do this setup optimizer in the very beginning, which is also one part of our revenue stream, that we, for example, collaborate with the ISPs we talked about and get specific packages so that you optimize your network before you get into home office. One idea could be that your employer directly integrates this and makes this a perk, for example, for you as an employee, because of course they are also very interested to see you work at home with very good and then also secure devices.
All right, thank you so much for all your questions. Again, there will be more time to ask all of them at the booths later on. Unfortunately, our project partner Telekom wasn't able to make it to Munich tonight from Bonn. However, They sent their warmest wishes to the team and want to thank them for the fruitful collaboration. And now it's time for the break. You have about 20 minutes to grab a drink, get some food, mingle, and we'll meet back in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Welcome back. You all look so much more refreshed now, as if you had been on vacation. I don't know. But yet, we still have a lot of really amazing projects prepared for you tonight. And it's my pleasure to present you with the next team, Zero. Zero promises to help you make sustainable options every time you go shopping. Let's all give a warm applause to Zero.
All right, people, good evening. We are here to talk about climate change. And we thought about bringing a lot of slides, what kind of impact climate change have, and numbers. But let's be honest, if I look at all of you, we don't need any numbers tonight. Climate change is real and it's happening right now. So let me talk you to about a story of my personal life and how climate change impacts us. So a few weeks ago, I bought a new pair of chinos on Zalando. In fact, I'm actually wearing them today. And as I'm a proud guy, I told my sister, hey, I bought some new pair of chinos, and my sister is a lot more sustainable than I am, and she challenged me, hey, do you know the carbon footprint of your chinos? Honestly, I didn't know. And of course she went on, as little sisters are, hey, what are the alternatives and what can you do about it? And again, I didn't have an answer. Let's be honest, no one looks up the carbon footprint of what you buy and look for alternatives. It's a lot of effort. But we all want to do something about climate change. In fact, 64% of all people want to do something about climate change, but they don't know how. And for those people, we built Zero. So Carmen, let's talk to the features of it.
All right, so what we're offering is a sustainable shopping advisor. Exactly for people like Frede. And how does it actually look like? We're combining three main features. The first one is that we analyze your carbon footprint, simple, automated, and in a convenient way, and also on a transactional level. So that you do not only know your carbon footprint, for instance, for your t-shirt that you bought, but also you know how much your online shopping actually contributed to your overall CO2 footprint. The second thing that we're offering you is that we give you recommendations on how to be more sustainable, how to purchase more sustainable the next time you do online shopping. And the third thing that we offer are highly qualified offsetting projects, which are certified and where you can be sure that you can really have a positive impact. So now you might think, okay, that sounds like a cool solution, but how does it actually work? Overall, the one place where all your information, your transactional information is going through is through your bank account. And we, with the new standard and also your permission, we are able to use that data and map that to a large carbon database. And with that, we can provide you with your carbon footprint for every single transaction that you're having. And we're not only using that information for your carbon footprint and carbon footprint analytics, but also we're using this information to provide you recommendations which are not general, but which are specific for every purchase that you're doing. And the third thing that we're offering are offsetting projects which really concern you and where you're personally interested in. So now, let's have a look at how this actually works. Chris is one of our first users, and he will now show you our app.
All right, so since I'm already using the app for some time, there's no need for me to connect my bank account anymore. So let's dive right in. So, as you can see, I've also shopped at Zalando, and I've also bought a pair of chinos. But with the difference to Freda is that I actually know the footprint of that transaction and that purchase. And not only do I know the difference, the footprint of my chinos, I also know the footprint of all of my purchases, of all goods and services from last week. And what I also know is all the categories that contribute towards my footprint. And to be honest, I'm a bit surprised that shopping is such a big chunk of it. So let's take a look. And here, I can see again all of the transactions I've made in the category. And let's have a detailed look onto the pair of chinos again. And I think the next time I'm gonna shop chinos, I will go with a more sustainable alternative. For example, I think I will buy at a second-hand shop. But for now, because I'm having a great day and I wanna make an impact, I think I will offset my purchase. And by doing so, and presented with multiple projects. And for me as a techie, direct air capture sounds really cool and sci-fi. So I'm gonna go with that. And I'm not the only one that thinks like that. There's also many other people that already contributed towards this goal. And it's not only other random people, it's also my friends that work towards that goals. And I can see that my friend Maximilian, I beat him by a lot. But I'm still lacking a bit with Lisa. And I think next week, I'm gonna beat her again. So with that, let's get back to Carmen for her to tell her more features.
All right. To sum up, what can our sustainable shopping advisor do? The first thing is that we analyze your carbon footprint, automated and on a transactional level. We provide you with recommendations which concern you, which enable you to actually become greener day by day. And the third thing is that we offer you offsetting projects which suit your interests, which are highly qualified and also certified. And why do we think that now is actually the right time to enter this market and tackle this problem? So the first thing is that climate change is in the head of everyone. And I mean, you feel it here today. And we know that not only the awareness is rising, but also the sustainable products which are out there in the market are rising by substantially. The second thing that we see is due to this, that there was this demonopolization of banking data. And with new regulations, we are able to access banking data to map that and provide you with your carbon footprint on a transactional level. And the third thing that we're seeing is that the offsetting market is getting more mature. And with that, we are able to offer offsetting projects which are certified and, in the best case, also local. And with that, let's have a look at our business model.
Okay, so now you heard why is this the right time to enter this market. But how are we actually going to make money with it? Because, you know, we are team zero emissions, but we are not team zero money. And so... So how are we actually going to make money with that? And the answer is very simple. We make money with every climate impact our users take. So this means if our users do something good for the environment, not only the planet gets their share, but we get it too. So on average, we expect that our users will spend around 250 euros per year on our app. And if we take 20% of that, you may think this is quite a bit, but it's actually lower than the market standard. We would end up with an average revenue per user of around 50 euros per year. And if we multiply these 50 euros with 200,000 customers, this is what we expect to have in year 2025, we will have a potential revenue of 10 million euros. But these 10 million euros would only be our market if we would focus on Germany alone. If we expand to Europe, we would have a market of around 96 million euros there. If we even go global, there would be a market of 200 million euros. But if you think this is already a lot, this is not the end. Because the global offsetting market is expected to increase by a lot in the future. Because, you know, we are all getting more and more climate aware, and we all there are more people who will start offsetting. So this market is expected to grow by 63% per year in the next years. So we will end up with a total addressable market of 10 billion euros in 2030. So now you heard what Zero is about. You heard the numbers. But who's the team behind Zero? This is us. We all have different backgrounds, but we are united in one common vision. And the vision is to give everyone the tools they need to decrease their carbon footprint and to make a difference, because we are the last generation that can actually make a difference and to tackle climate change. If you want to tackle climate change with us together, we would ask you to come to our booth, because there you can prove us that you know your carbon footprint. And if you do so, you can also win some very, very cool prizes. Thank you very much.
Du machst die Slides, ne?
Two questions. The first one, your beautiful t-shirts. So what's the footprint?
Around 3 kilograms.
Nice. And the second question is about your pricing. And I've seen you gonna earn 50 euros. The customer acquisition cost, like in the B2C market, is quite high, I guess. And have you calculated how much money you will need to attract the customers, and how long are they going to stay on the platform? Because 1 year is quite a long time for such a cost-intensive app.
Thank you for the question. So the question is about the business acquisition cost, and I will hand over to Stefan to answer that.
Yes. So on that point, we did quite some extensive user research there, and they were all confirmed that this is a big problem for them. And so we expect that the users will stay at least 2 years, and that they will also, if they like the app, that they will also spread it to their friends and so on. So I think this will be a lever to decrease the customer acquisition cost. But yeah, of course, this is a thing that we need to assess in the future, so to say.
Hi, thanks first of all for the pitch. I think that's a really great idea. However, I was wondering regarding the bank account, because I think when you connect with bank accounts, it's like very generalized information, right? We saw that you had the Zalando transaction on your bank account, but how do you know what I exactly bought? Because I mean, you see that I shopped for, I don't know, 100 euros on Zalando, but maybe Zalando offers sustainable jeans, and I bought those instead of the branded ones, and that like has a huge impact then on the carbon footprint, right? Or if you say mobility, did I use a car sharing with an electric vehicle or a diesel vehicle? So I think there's a huge potential for an error. How do you address that?
Thank you for the question. So the question was technical, how we match the transactional data to the carbon footprint. We'll hand over to Chris.
Yeah, so thanks for the question, because you put a lot of effort into coming up with all the details on how to be able to classify most transactions. So what we do is we have 3 sources where we ingest data. So the one is we partner up with shops such as Zalando. We can also read data from PayPal. So that means we already get all those information for your purchases. We can then also, you can also connect to your mail account where we further can read out more things, such as, your shopping things or the train you took to Berlin or something. And there's also the chance for you to change something, or like to clarify it for us. For example, if there's a transaction going out, like the 100 euros for Zalando, to provide more details on that. So yeah, we were able to classify most transactions without any super big deviations.
So first of all, it was a really beautiful presentation, and secondly, so before I was trying to get data sets on CO2 emissions, and I've been wondering, do you have a plan where to get all your data from, and how do you deal with all the uncertainty?
Thank you. So the question is regarding the data. We'll hand back actually to Chris.
Oh yeah, so actually we're combining our own database in that and external providers such as Climatic to be able to give us this data. So we're basically giving them enriched information about the products you bought, and they're gonna give us back a very detailed footprint on that. But you're right, it's very hard, and it's a very, very great business to be in right now, but we're outsourcing that to other providers.
Hey, thanks for the pitch. Tell me something about competition. I assume there are at least 2 or 3 other applications on the market trying to capture this topic. Where do you differ? Where do you differ in your go-to-market? And yeah, like in the midterm strategy as well.
So the question was regarding our competition. Let's go through it quickly. We have looked at a lot of climate apps. I think when it comes to European markets, most of them don't do it on a transactional level. It's more of hey, you can offset your approximate carbon footprint, and we thought that's actually really boring. It doesn't really help. It's a bit like Ablasshandel, if you remember the word in German. I don't know the English word. And when it comes to the US, we have actually Euro, which is really interesting. The Americans get easy banking data because there is no GDPR there, so they're actually using that right now. But they don't expect to move over to Europe. In Europe, we have now PSD2, which is our advantage, so the transactional data, and we get the data from there, and that's our USP on the European market.
All right, thank you everyone for your questions. There will be more time for questions later on. Now please welcome with me the CEO of the project partner Ivy, Ferdinand Dabnitz.
Yes, thank you so much for the pitch. No, so we had a great time working with the CDTM team, and I think probably there have been said so many true things on the competence and the capabilities of the CDTM teams. So maybe just like 2 more things to add to the list from my side. First of all, the humor and the friendliness. I think we all had a great time working together, and we are, as you know, very eager to stay in touch as a company, and thank you for the good spirit. So secondly, in terms of product management, I think what really stood out was essentially the entrepreneurship. I think this really is your own, this really is your own product. You worked on it very independently. It was super exciting to see, like 2 weeks in, how you were heading off in your own direction, how it came together, how you were talking to users, how you were building the product, and was exciting to see it. And overall, I think there's like massive potential for consumer value creation through the free sharing of financial data via open banking rails. And I think you have built a super interesting sustainability use case. So to sum it up, thank you very much for taking the time, and we hope to stay in touch.
Thank you so much, Ferdinand. Now, moving on. Buying a car is not a decision you take lightly, considering for most people it's the 2nd largest purchase they will take in their lives, especially when you buy it online. Next up is Team Akina, who is on a mission to revolutionize your car buying experience online.
Hi everybody, so let me start with a quick question. So who of you has bought a car before or has at least browsed through various marketplaces and searched for a car? Quick show of hands. Okay, so quite a few of you have experienced the pain of going through the filter jungle of online car marketplaces. And well, for the rest, let me spoiler you already that we have a solution that will prevent you from ever going through this pain. But let's take a step back and see what is actually the problem there. And for this, we brought our friend Max. So Max is in his early 30s, and he works at a B2B software startup in Munich as a tech lead. And the last weeks have been among the most exciting of his entire life. First of all, he became a father of Tony, this little girl, and also he decided to make the 2nd biggest purchasing decision of his life. He wants to get a car. So Max started to look for cars online, but he ran into a few problems pretty quickly, and we're gonna elaborate on them a bit further. So the first problem, we heard already before, there are a lot of filters for rental, but also for buying cars. And in fact, there are 182 filtering options on the average car marketplace. But it's not only the amount of options, it's actually the amount of combinations. And so we weren't sure how to calculate this, and that's basically what Google told us. There's an infinity amount of combinations that you can choose from on these car marketplaces. And so, well, nobody will ever go through all of these combinations to find their dream car. Problem 2, Isofix. Who of you knows what Isofix is? Yeah. Most people don't, so that's Isofix. And you still might be wondering why you need this. So that's why you need it. You need it to fix a children's seat in the car. And remember, Max has a little daughter, Tony, and if he has a car without Isofix, he won't be able to transport her securely. And so that's one of his main priorities. So if he cannot buy a car that has this, based on these needs, he simply doesn't make a good purchasing decision. And lastly, the comparability. If you've selected the right model, you maybe want to buy it, or you want to lease it, or you want to subscribe to it, but it's impossible to compare it because it's like comparing apples and oranges. You cannot compare an upfront price with a monthly fee. It's simply very intransparent. And that's why, for people like Max who have limited knowledge about cars, struggle to find their dream car online. Because A, they're overwhelmed by countless complex filter options, and B, they cannot select the best offer because of cost and transparency. And we at Akina are trying to solve this problem, and now we're going to show you how we're going to do that.
Amazing. So let's picture Max. He's trying to find his perfect car, and he opens up Akina, and this is what we see first. What you need to know about Akina is that the better we know you, the better we can actually help you find your dream car. So the first step that we take is that we want to understand what kind of offers you're looking for, what kind of financial kind of streams you have, and what you're actually looking for in a car. So we start off and we ask you, have you ever owned a car before? Max has not, so he's a complete newbie, and he's interested in both new cars as well as used cars. Next up, we ask about upfront budget. Let's say he's saved up some money. Let's go with 45,000. We're not going to go with a monthly budget for now because he doesn't really know what that means, and we're going to keep going. This is where it gets really frisky. This is where it gets intimate. And instead of going through this jungle of over-specified filters, we actually want to get to know Max on a very personal level. So we know he's a family man, so he definitely wants his car to be family-friendly. He does care about sustainability. He wants to keep his daughter safe. Let's be honest, every once in a while, he does like to push the gas pedal a little bit. And he also cares about comfort. Okay. So let's see what Akina has in store for us. As we can see, the first thing that we get is one recommendation. We're not overwhelmed with a bunch of different cars, but actually just the very first one already fits. Up top, you can see how the needs that we selected actually match with the car. We can also go through a couple of other options. We can compare how those needs match in relation to the other cars, but he actually decides that he did like the Tiguan e-hybrid that he saw at the very beginning. So he jumps in, he can see how those needs actually split up in the car specifically. We can have a couple of looks at the car specifications, and ultimately he decides that he wants to understand how much this will cost him.
Okay, perfect. So let's get down to the numbers. Here, first thing we see is a pop-up with 3 main ownership options. So on the one hand, Max could buy the car, could lease it, or could actually also subscribe to it. We know that Max has not previous experience, and maybe he wants to keep the flexibility of leasing. That's why Akina recommends the leasing option. So what are the actual numbers right now? Let's deep dive. Here we see again the 3 different options and how we estimate the cost for every of those options. So we see on the one hand we have one-time costs for buying or leasing options, but we have also monthly fixed and variable costs. Furthermore, if we want to really deep dive, we can also see, for example, hidden costs such as depreciation, which normally we don't take into account. So what are the recommendations? Here we see 3 recommendations, and let's say Max goes actually for the leasing offer. So he clicks here with, will redirect him to AutoScout, and then he sees here, okay, this is the information about the car. He can further scroll down, he sees the map, where he can locate the partner dealer, and at the end, he can just go and, for example, also go and contact the partner.
Perfect. After this very breathtaking product demo, I'd like you to take away 3 main add-ons that we deliver to our users, car seekers. Firstly, Akina provides a highly needs-based search there out in the market. So you basically tell us your 5 deepest desires, of course, only car-related, and we will provide you with the most suitable model. Secondly, Akina provides highly individualized recommendation in ownership models and models. So basically, we not only recommend a specific model, but also tell you whether it's very suitable for you to buy, lease, or subscribe the car. And lastly, Akina enables maximal cost transparency, meaning we provide you with a very holistic total cost of ownership analysis so that you can basically compare the cost on a monthly basis, as we have seen it. And now you're probably asking, why is it the right timing to enter the market now? And let me answer that in one single sentence for you. The amount of people who can imagine buying a car online has tripled within the last 3 years. Where is this coming from? Pre-COVID, so basically 2019, only 20% of car seekers were willing to purchase online. However, this number increased by factor 3 to 60%. And this means that this increase represents a huge market potential because there are people like Max who really want to purchase a car online but lack the tools in order to do so. And this is where we come in, Akina. Akina empowers everyone to get their dream car online in less than 5 minutes without zero prior knowledge required. So let's look into the numbers and better fasten your seatbelt, because Akina is operating on the global car market worth 3 trillion euro in 2025. What is really attractive in this market is not the fact that it's a 3 trillion figure, it's the fact that we operate in the most dynamic segment of the market, basically the online car sales market. Based on a 3 times higher growth rate than in the average market, this market will be worth 540 billion euro in 2025. Going maybe one level deeper, our solution, Akina, is basically most suitable for customers like Autoscout24 and mobile.de, and therefore we aim at targeting a 100 billion euro market. And we aim at capturing 150 million, and let's look how we do that.
Thank you very much. So looking how do we capture this 150 million euro in revenue, it's actually quite simple. We start off by looking at the average price of a car, which is around 20,000 euros or dollars, doesn't matter, it's the same now anyways. And then we take 0.5 percentage point as a cut. So whenever a lead is converted into a sale on a customer platform such as Autoscout24 or mobile.de, we take just a tiny fraction of it. And then we take a bigger fraction, which is a number of cars that will be sold through our platform or through leads that we generate, which is 1.5 million. And then we arrive at the desired 150 million in revenue. So it's an exciting opportunity. Question is, who's also playing here? To give you an overview about the competitive landscape, we look at 2 dimensions. So the first, on the x-axis, is the number of ownership models. On the very left, you have no ownership models, so you just can click and compare and look around. And on the very right, you have all the ownership models that you desire. You can rent a car, subscribe, lease, buy, finance, whatever else. And then the y-axis is rather self-explanatory. So easy means that even for an uneducated user about cars, it gets the job done. So who's here? In the very left, we have price comparison tools. They're both hard to use, and also they don't have much ownership models. It gets better if we look at holistic car marketplaces. They offer all the ownership models, but they're still, well, to put it mildly, difficult to use. In comes the third group, which is specialized marketplaces. They're very nice, they come in handy, they get the job done, but there's usually only one ownership model. And in comes Akina, which is the only solution that provides both the full range of ownership models and is easy to use for everybody, so everyone can find their dream car online. The question is, how do we take it from here? We think that Akina adds value in industries characterized by three things. First, a high online penetration, so people buy online. Second, capital-intensive goods, so there's room for new ownership models and also intransparency that could be resolved. And thirdly, there are a lot of users with little know-how about the goods. Therefore, we think that cars are just the beginning. We want to expand to consumer electronics and furniture, and our vision is, in 5 years' time, Akina is the leading online sales generation platform for all high investment goods. So who wants to realize this journey? That's the team up here, down here, and now we are very happy to take your questions.
Thank you for the presentation. How do you ensure to not fall into the recommendation engine, price comparison trap? Because as you demoed, maybe this is a question too early, by the way, but as you demoed right now, it's easy to kind of circumvent your platform. Even if I found a deal on Finn or whatever, I could just go there and basically take the middleman that you are off. So how do you address that?
Yeah, I guess, so for the online users, the question was about how we tackle the challenge of not also becoming a middleman and then people will just circumvent it. Well, I think you know the filter jungle, so to find this exact same option, you would have to go through all the filters on the other car marketplaces. So it wouldn't be that trivial to just find this offer, because we basically don't redirect you to the offer on the site, but we provide you the contact. And so that's why we think that it will be really, really hard to circumvent us just like that.
A short question on your demo, because I think the leasing option was the second most expensive option, but it was so much better than the buying right away option. Is there something related to other dimensions that we did not see from the audience that caused that?
Yeah, so in this case, basically what happened was that the user told us that he did not previously own a car. And in that case, what our model suggests is a bit more flexibility. In our user interviews as well, we've kind of asked people, okay, well, how was your previous experience with cars? Have you owned cars before? Have you leased? And we've realized that people that have not owned cars before are more comfortable with leasing and subscription options, especially when it comes to like important decisions such as a family car.
I think there's another question over there.
Just, it's very nice thing to have such kind of knowledge and insights, but the idea here, we all like suffer with this paradox of choice. Yeah, so there are many options in the market, and to choose the right option is like a big dilemma, even in sociology and psychology and so on. So it's not only that. So you are not playing on data only, but you are playing on the wisdom of data, which is the knowledge. And how, my question is, how you can get this knowledge and make such insightful information that reach to such, you know, good selection and the stuff that you have mentioned.
So just to clarify it, do you actually want to know the tech details about how the product worked, or? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is how we set up basically our MVP. So we asked you at the beginning, if you remember in the demo, the needs that you could tip on, right? So those needs, we see that on the diagram, are on the right. And then we have different criteria, right? So different cars have different CO2 emission values, have different horsepower values, transmission values, whatever, you name it, right? All the features that actually cars have. So what we do is actually we analyze all the data and look at the spectrum of how the data is distributed, right? So what we then do is basically extract density functions, approximate them, and then map the scores of those density functions to a scale to basically do a scoring. And this scoring actually adjusts dynamically. So obviously, if you see different distributions, horsepower or transmission distributions, they do not have obviously the same scale and the same scores, but they have to be, for each criteria, adjusted individually. And then what we do is to train a model, which then actually takes the need layer, the feature layer, and at the end outputs the needed recommendation. Yeah.
All right, thank you much for so many great questions. And next up, I would like to welcome Peter Juras and Selina Ehrman to hear from the project partner AutoScout.
Thank you very, very much. This was a great pitch, but not only a pitch. I also, I really, really like your solution. And I have to say, so for me, it has been 6 years since I have been doing my MPD. And following the CDTM, I have to say that year after year, you keep on raising the quality bar. So yeah, thank you very much. It was a really good collaboration. You really gave your best, and every week I saw that you improved your solution very much. So. And it wasn't just a collaboration for the sake of doing an MPD, but it also solved a very important problem for AutoScout. And I think to that, like also Selina can say a few words.
Yeah, I just remember the first day in our office where we talked about ownership models and the car buying process, and you had so many questions, and it's so great to see this amazing product live here. And you can't believe how much AutoScout and all the others are struggling right now with ownership models, car buying. There are so many options out there, and thanks for all your work and all your insights.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much, Selina. We're already almost at the end, and I'm really excited to present to you our last team for tonight. Probably you've all been shopping today or sometime this week, but did you ever wonder how stores deal with theft? I'm really excited to present to you Team Carl.
€100,000. This is actually a lot of money. Imagine you would have those €100,000 and you would plan with it. And now imagine that we would just take it away from you. I bet you would be pretty upset. For you, this now is only an imaginary problem. But actually, this is full-blown reality for grocery store owners all over the DACH region, because they lose €100,000 of revenue every year because people are stealing stuff in their grocery stores.
Now, you could argue that 100K is actually not that much money for a large corporation, right? Actually, most of the supermarket stores that you know out there are decentralized and owned by individuals. Individuals like Michael. He lives in southern Bavaria, owns an Edeka store, has 2 little kids. He is dependent on that steady revenue income stream. Individuals like Emre, who always wanted to be an entrepreneur, was finally able to start that supermarket together with his brother, only to find out that people are regularly stealing expensive liquor from his store. Individuals like Lisa, who just recently inherited a Rewe store from her grandpa, really wants to renovate it, but just cannot find the funding to finance it. These 3 individuals are not alone. There are several individuals all across the German-speaking DACH region that face the same problem. All of them are losing €100,000 in revenue each year, resulting in €4.5 billion in revenue lost due to theft by people stealing goods from grocery stores. But what exactly do people steal from grocery stores?
That's actually a really good question, Jana. Let's maybe ask the audience. What do you think is the most stolen product in German grocery stores? Alcohol. Exactly. It's alcohol. More specifically, this very product of Jack Daniels. That's really true. But people don't only steal alcohol. People also steal razor blades, they steal batteries, they steal electric toothbrushes, and they even steal deodorant.
All right, this is all pretty interesting. But I would say most of the audience agrees with me that there's no way supermarkets do not already have a proper solution to detect and catch thieves, right?
Actually, I would disagree.
Okay, so how about just going with this normal security personnel patrolling the aisles, catching me when I try to do something?
That's a super nice solution, but these employees just can't watch every customer all the time, so they can't see everything.
Okay, so how about we just put one person in place to watch all of the different security feeds 24/7?
Also a very nice idea, but even those people can't watch every screen all the time, and moreover, they are just way too expensive.
Okay, so how about we think about introducing RFID chips? I mean, we know them from clothing stores already, right?
Yes, and that works perfectly fine for clothing stores where the margin is quite high. However, in grocery stores, we have a very low margin, so it's just not worth putting these things on the product.
Okay, so if I now go to Rewe, there's a 99% chance that Jack Daniels bottles that I want to buy or steal is actually behind the glass. So how about just putting all of the different expensive products or categories that are usually stolen behind the glass?
That's an amazing idea, Jana, and now imagine yourself standing in an Edeka next time you want to buy something, and you have to wait for several minutes for every single product that costs more than €5 because some employee has to go somewhere and open the shelf for you. Would be a super bad user experience, and next time you would probably not go to that Edeka, but rather to the Rewe next door. And you know what? Actually, I can even prove to you that all these solutions that we have right here are not working. Let's imagine all these people in this room right now have stolen something from a supermarket in Munich last year. And now I would like to ask maybe the three of you from Check24 to please very quickly stand up. So from all the people in this room right now, those three people would have been the only ones that would have been detected when they tried to steal something. The rest of these people would have stayed undetected. Because according to statistics, only 3% of all people who try to steal something in grocery stores, yes, you can sit down, actually get detected when they're active. And I think we can all agree that this is a pretty bad number.
So what if we could actually change that? And let's be smart, that use something that already exists in the grocery stores, like those cameras that are not really getting monitored right now. And then we combine it with an intelligent algorithm that allows to detect suspicious behavior and also throw a nice mobile app on top of it. Guess what? This is exactly what we did. And my pleasure, introduce you to Carl, your automatic theft detection as a service. First, let's look at the magic behind our backend. You can see that there's existing cameras monitoring the stores. There is some suspicious person, well, it's Jana. And as a first step, our algorithm actually detects the pose of a person to see what they're doing. Are they trying to look around to see that no one is watching? Are they putting the item in the backpack or in the shopping basket? Or are they rushing away to make sure no one caught them? As a second step, our algorithm classifies the behavior as suspicious or not. And then it assigns a probability of it being suspicious. And once the algorithm actually says it's super suspicious, then the video gets passed to the mobile app.
Talking about the mobile app, so actually we have new suspicious behavior detected in my story. Shall we have a look in the store what's going on? Okay, so there's some person stealing a lot of alcohol, and yeah, he looks quite suspicious, right? So also the algorithm says 94% probability. So I'm very sure when you agree that that actually is a thief, right? So let us see what he's doing right now. So okay, he looks kind of dangerous, and he's actually trying to leave the store. Okay, and oh no, he's going to the checkout area. So okay, stop. So our story ends here, but the store manager now is running towards the checkout area and is trying to catch the thief who's tried to steal something from his store. If he actually managed to do so, he can now indicate that he actually caught the thief. Why is that relevant? Because store managers need to file a police report when they actually detect the thief. So that's where Carl also comes in handy, and it will allow us to enter some more details of the theft. But what if the person doesn't cooperate with us? Well, then we just have to call the police, which we're not going to do right now, but you will have the opportunity to call the police yourself, or maybe we would later at our booth.
Wow, that was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. So let's recap, what value does Carl bring to the grocery store manager? One, it decreases losses because no behavior will remain undetected with our algorithm. Two, it's saving time, which means that grocery store owners finally have time to run their stores, not run after thieves. Also, it's future-oriented, which means it improves the store layout over time. And of course, it's very, very data secure.
All right, having understood that Carl is an awesome product, let's now talk a bit about the numbers. There are basically three things I want you to take away from our pricing slide. The first thing is, our pricing is differentiated depending on the size of the store. So it's a fair pricing even for a small mom and pop shop, and also for the big chains or the store owners who own multiple store locations who want to roll our solution out to all of their stores. The second thing I want you to take away from this slide is that our pricing at on average 5,000 euros per year sounds like a lot of money, but compared to the 100,000 euros in stolen value in the store, this is actually drops in the bucket and a very fair pricing approach for the store owners. The third thing is, looking from our perspective, 5,000 euros per year is a lot of money, and it allows us to, in the first year, basically pay for all the equipment, the servers, and so on we need to install at the store, and after that we have very low running costs, so that's basically pure profit. Having understood that the single store is super interesting for us, how many stores are actually out there? Good thing is, Supermarkets are in every single town. In Germany, there are almost 40,000 supermarkets, in the DACH region, even more. So even if we don't catch all of them, or don't acquire all of them, and initially we will mainly focus on the large chains, simply because an Edeka in Hamburg looks super similar to an Edeka in Munich, so basically scaling and rolling out our technology becomes super easy. So even if we discount all the stores that we won't target in the first 3 to 5 years, we still foresee a revenue opportunity of 165 million euros in annual recurring revenue within the next 3 to 5 years. This is a super attractive market. So who are the people behind going after this opportunity? That's us. We're already very much looking forward to your questions and seeing you at our booth and talking about our booth.
Yeah, talking about our booth, you will love it. So all of you will have the chance to go after your kleptomanic feelings and try to steal a bottle of Jack Daniels from us. And if you manage to do so, you can keep it. So thank you so much for your attention, and now we're happy to take your questions.
So thank you so much for the presentation. It was really good. I really liked it. I have one question because I think I would be a suspicious thief, but not really being a thief. So for example, if I go shopping and I put something in my bag and I may look suspicious, would the cameraman who's always checking the cameras always run to the checkout and try to catch me and make all the customers nervous and weird it out? Or would actually be the persons at the checkouts also be notified via the app that there is a person maybe with a picture of, for example, me with that bag? So how would that work?
Okay, so thank you for your question. So it's more about the setup of the product and who we will show the information of the alert.
Yeah, so basically, will the people at the checkout be notified? This really depends on the implementation of the product in the store. But if they want to have that, in most stores, it's more likely that the store owner will want to get notified, and he will watch you on the cameras and only go after you once you've left the checkout aisles, because before that, it's perfectly feasible that you go to the checkout counter and then put everything back on the band. But if you don't do that, if you just go through, then you will be caught.
Some more questions
Hi,
over there. Yeah.
Firstly, thank you for your nice presentation. I just wanted to ask you regarding the technical stuff. So in your demo, you showed that there is a suspicious adversary who is going across the store to take stuff and probably steal it. How do you plan to track that same person across various cameras? Because considering some stores could become very large and span across multiple floors. So how do you plan to track that person? Because I fear it quite a lot because I wear quite cliche clothes. So if it would really help if you could shed some light on your person re-identification tech.
Yeah, so thank you thank you so much for the question. So it's more directed towards our back end and possible tracking solutions.
We're looking at two solutions to this. The first thing we're looking into is basically Wi-Fi triangulation. Most people have a cell phone, so if we know, okay, this is the person, we can follow them through the store. The second option is we have the advantage that we know where all the cameras are, what they see. As long as the store is covered with cameras, we can do some depth estimation and say, okay, you've walked out of camera 6, and now we can see you on camera 7, and now you walked out of there, and now we see you on camera 3, and so on, and so we can follow you throughout the store.
Hey, thanks for the pitch. So you said you have some check marks where you know someone is maybe a thief, right? What I would want to know is, most of the thefts, are they from professional thieves or are they from optional thieves? Like if I say, hey, oh, there was a deodorant found in my backpack, right? And I would assume that the professional thieves don't have so much indicators you can see, because, for example, I always put stuff in my bag, I don't steal it, and then I put it out. So this doesn't work, right? And if the professional thieves don't do like this and don't hesitate and don't walk faster, which aspects do you actually have to differentiate between those persons, right? And do you have information on that? Do you know how professional thieves act and that you can catch them with your algorithm from statistics and so on?
Okay, also thank you for your question. So it's going more towards the direction of professional thieves, which actually is a true problem.
So I will try to answer without giving you too much information and talking too long. But we talked to a lot of customers, and they gave us a broad variety of different cases that you can have. So you can have like the very normal person just going there and stealing little stuff. You have gangs, you have professionals, and they all show different behavior. And these different behaviors are, for example, incorporated in things like path analysis, but also things like analyzing if people put something in their bag. But of course, we also, in advance, have different clusters that we can detect. So we have clusters of path analysis, we have clusters of people having a bag, where you say, okay, if they only have a bag and they have nothing else, probably they're using their bag for shopping. If they have both, then it's kind of suspicious. Sometimes they might even use like a shopping cart, and they would put stuff in their shopping cart, and they would take it out after walking around the corner and then putting it in their bag. So those are all different varieties of clusters that we are able to detect in our tech. And for the last incident, we also have the human. So we still have the grocery store manager, what you just saw, where he can say, okay, I have a look at the video loop. Do I think it's suspicious or not?
Here. Okay. One quick question. What's the hardware that you have to install in each? Like, of course, most of the cameras are already there, but what else besides that do you have to install and maintain to run the process?
Yes, so the question is about the hardware installation in each store.
So the short answer there is we're still figuring that part out. We know there is proprietary like accelerator hardware that can do image analysis, but we haven't decided on the final hardware implementation in the stores yet.
And do we have more questions? I don't see anyone.
Unfortunately, we are out of time, but you will have time to ask all the further questions at the booths. Thank you very much, Team Karl. And now let's welcome Park Depot's Jakob Bodenmüller on stage, please.
Yeah, I already liked the presentation when I saw the 100,000 in the beginning. So that was, I think this is really solving a problem. And I remember in our very first meeting, I told the team, hey, do whatever you need to do, but find something that's actually the potential to become something bigger than Park Depot. And I think the market potential of this solution is really, really big. So I think it's really, really cool what you achieved. One thing that was really outstanding to me, working with you guys, was your team and energy. And I think this is like really up to the point to this presentation. You can see that in everything that you did. And I think this is something that is like very crucial to a business if you start it. So this is something like I really felt like as soon as you found that idea and found that problem and talked to the customers and they actually wanted it. So I really felt like how the energy level of the team was rising, and you got more excited from every meeting to every meeting. So that was really, really cool to see. It actually, like in the end, even catched me so much that I'm also very enthusiastic about the business. And even standing here with your tattoo on my arm today. So thank you so much, and really looking forward to how this continues.
Thank you, Jakob. This concludes our pitches for tonight. And wow, what pitches we have seen. And now for some concluding words, we want you to welcome one of the greatest supporters of the CDTM and also one of our board professors tonight with us, Klaus Diepold.
Okay. Whew. What an evening, what an afternoon. So I was just wondering, what's the temperature coming up here? Because there were hot presentations. But on the other side, the products and the presentations were also pretty cool. So what we're experiencing right now, it seems to be the mixture of being hot and being cool at the same time. Hey, how cool can that be? So I'm very happy that we're back here at the MPD Design Fair after quite some breaks, experiencing it online. I see a lot of smiling faces. It feels like I've been transported through time. There hasn't been these 2 years in between, so it's great to feel the energy. It's great to feel the enthusiasm, and it is really infecting or contagious, other than COVID. Just getting happy. So 3 observations. I usually try to come up with 3 observations, and you may find them silly. Number 1, I think that the people asking questions are always very, very polite. They say, thank you very much for the presentation. I like it, but there's always this certain element of skepticism. So CDTM audience is not easy to convince. So there's, thank you for this great presentation. However, so you see, if you convince your audience in this space, that's a pretty good step forward. Second observation, 57% of all the teams coming up having a team name that ends with an O. 0, and so on. So we have all those O's, or Personio. Oh, they were here a couple of longer time ago, you're right. Magazzino. So that seems a kind of pattern. I seem to realize at CDTM that a lot of O's come up. So I think since O is Latin, coming from Latin meaning the male part, we should look for some more A's in the end to get the female part up. So making some statistics on names is funny. But more on the serious note, I also realized, and I really appreciated very much, that former CDTM students that I may remember or not, being here at the stage presenting for MPDs, keep coming back as project partners. And that is a wonderful story. I think it's a great story, and this is such a great story that I personally like to share it these days with journalists who keep coming and asking, can we ask you about the CDTM and what makes it so successful? And I personally, one of the stories I like is we have these feedback mechanisms that once a centerling, always a centerling. So it's great to have you all back. Where's Stefan? Ah, okay, so I'm very happy to see all these alumni to come back and to join and add to the events. So I'm already looking forward for the next events coming up, even though I hope they may not be as hot, or they even be more cool, to cool down the place. I wish you a pleasant evening, have fun and inspiration by joining the booth of the teams, experiencing and asking your further questions with this slide, however. Yeah, so don't forget about this one. Okay, thank you so much. See you soon again. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Wow, we made it through. We survived. We are inspired now. And we would like to finish up this presentation by thanking everyone who made it possible. First of all, thank you to all the project partners who are here and who approached us with such amazing challenges and questions for us to solve. Big applause to you. We also want to thank another extremely important stakeholder in this entire endeavor. They're not here tonight, but we want to thank all the lecturers and experts who coached our teams throughout this journey. Thanks to them. Thank you so much for Chris, Bernie, Charlie, and all the other helpers who made this night possible. Thank you to you. And last and most importantly, thank you so much for all the 32 amazing MPD students who made this night possible. Big applause to you.
Thanks.
It's time. Go out, enjoy a cold drink, have something to eat, and we'll see you back.
And steal some stuff.